Okay. So yeah, hi everyone. I hope that you all are doing good and you all are very good and taking care of yourself along with your family and everyone. I welcome you all on behalf of GDG Jalandhar here today in the session in the TechDrill campaign and in the session on Flutter, which we'll be doing throughout the week. So starting with a brief introduction, and I'm telling you that you'll have to bear this introduction just for today, not for other sessions coming ahead in the week. So yes, I want to welcome you all on behalf of GDG Jalandhar, and here I am, Varsha Jaiswal, the organizer and ambassador at GDG Jalandhar, and here to take you through that what TechDrill is all about and what we are going to do in throughout this week. So TechDrill, it's a campaign by GDG WTM Jalandhar, which we initiated a few months back, and which has a single motive that we'll dive into the technologies. We as a community aim to provide a 7 days tutoring sessions on technologies like Android, ML, Web, Firebase, Flutter, and many more to come. This is a year-wide program, so we'll have the trainings on the second and fourth week of every month throughout the year till December end. We have already hosted the 2 trainings successfully on Firebase for Web from beginner to intermediate and intermediate to advanced. And today we are here together to host the 3rd training on Flutter, which is starting from beginner to advanced. For more information, you can hop on to techdrill.jdgjalandhar.com and you can check out the information over there anytime. And if you have missed the first 2 sessions on Firebase for Web, no worries. You don't have to worry about that, because if you want to access that, you can access them at techdrill.jdgjalandhar.com. You just need to hop on there and check out the event section. You'll be able to see that the recordings over there, and you can learn from those as well. If you're not the member of GDG Jalandhar yet, you can join us at gdg.community.dev/gdg-jalandhar so that you will be aware about the upcoming technologies, upcoming events, and you will not miss any if you don't want to. Yeah, there are a few code of conduct and guidelines for all of us who are there here today to attend the TechDrill event and to be the part of this campaign. Be nice and respectful to everyone, and while interacting in chat or on social media, that is Discord, don't post anything if they are adult content or rude. Don't advertise or promote anything in the chat, because this might disturb the other fellows who are here to learn something new. Do not spam the thing by posting one thing again and again. If you have any doubt and you want to get that answered, you just need to put the question up for one time and we'll take care of that. We'll definitely answer the same to you. If you feel like, okay, you are being harassed, or if you can see anyone is being harassed, please feel free to report that to gdgjalandhar.com at gmail.com, and any type of harassment is not accepted, and you will be blocked from the upcoming sessions too. So keeping in mind the code of conduct, we are here to welcome you all at the TechDrill, and it's not like that you will not be having doubts. If you have doubts, you can definitely unmute yourself or drop your questions in the chat. Our mentor will love to answer them out. If you have doubt after that too, we have created the Discord channel, and the Discord server link is bit.ly/gdgjalandhar-discord. Don't worry, we'll share the link in the chat too. And you can connect it, like you can see this Flutter-01 where you can connect with your mentor anytime to ask the doubts. You can also check out the general announcements in the announcement section, and if you have any other query related to TechDrill, not related to Flutter, you can hop onto general queries too. We'll provide the certificate of completion, and that will be given to you by the mentor with the signature of the mentor once you'll complete the project within the given time. So within upcoming 6 to 7 days, we'll tell you about the projects, that what you have to do and what will be the deadline and each each and every detail. We'll share the forms with you all too. So you just need to like stick to the guidelines which your mentor will be giving in the upcoming time, and then you can do the project, submit it over there, and we would offer you the certificate of completion. With that, I just want to take a moment to introduce our mentor of the week, Yash Pathak. Yash, who has been the member of GDG Jalandhar since past 3+ years and is a very good person by heart. He is a Flutter enthusiast who is practicing Flutter since 2+ years and humble by nature. If I have to name Yash with one word, it's that one thing that he's humble, there to help you always. So you are just a message away from your mentor. And if you feel like okay, you have any doubts regarding Flutter, reach out to him on Discord. He'll try his best to answer you as soon as possible. You can also connect with Yash on his Twitter handle, that is Yash Pathak, and I think the same username is there on Discord too. With that, I welcome you, Yash, on the session on Flutter from beginner to intermediate. And I can assure to all of you who have been the part or who have joined this call today that at the end of the session, you will definitely know, or after these 7 days, you will definitely have one application in your hand which you can share, which you can add up in your resume, or which you may scale up to another level. So yes, with that, welcome you all. Let's just enjoy the roller coaster ride and welcome Yash in this session today. Over to you. You are the owner now. You are not audible. I'm so sorry for the mishap. I think he was not having that internet connectivity, or maybe he'll join very soon. Till then, yes, I have shared the Discord link in the chat, so you can join that. I'll also share the Twitter handle of Yash. Yash, you're on mute. Yes.
Glitches. Am I audible right now?
Yes, yeah.
So, thank you, Varsha, for a very great introduction. And I don't think I'm that nice like you mentioned, but still, thank you a lot for the great words of appreciation. And also, a very warm welcome to all the people who have joined today on the day of holiday on Sunday at this very odd hour. And I really appreciate that you guys are conscious enough to come up and attend this at this point of time. Okay, so I hope you all are fine, and let's proceed with the Flutter. So you might have read the pre-request site previously, and we are still going to ponder upon them again and again, to and fro, until we reach to a conclusion. We realize that yeah, this is the point to move on. So with these notes, I would like to project my screen and show you the slides up front. Okay, is my screen visible to all of you? Can the mediator please let me know? Yeah, it should be visible. Okay, cool. So yeah, so we are going to proceed on this journey of 7 days, and this is called TechDrill. So this just basically concerns us about diving into Flutter, getting started into Flutter, and reaching to a point where we can decide our own paths, our own tracks, and we can move on thereafter. So my name is Yash, and I have been part of GG Jalandhar from the past 3 years. And I have been exploring Flutter from the past 3 years as well. And I have created multiple applications. I have developed applications for iOS, Android, and even for television, and that too are entirely built with Flutter. So I do believe that I'm a great fit for this position being offered as a mentor for this session. So let's proceed in a slow manner, and one by one, we're going to see and look what are the inits is associated with this. So the schedule of the drill is something like these points. We have 7 days to go, and we are on the first day today, and we are going to discuss what Flutter is. And the second day, we are going to realize and understand what Dart is. So Dart is basically the language on which Flutter relies, right? So we are going to understand the basics of Dart. Like with any framework, you have to learn a language. Similarly, Dart is a language on which Flutter works. Okay. And on the third day, we'll be exploring widgets. Widgets are the basic building blocks of Flutter. So you'll come to know in later on today itself that what widgets are. On the fourth day as well, we'll be exploring widgets because the widgets catalog offered by Flutter is very nice and very rich, and it has multiple and many widgets. So we are going to explore them one by one, and we'll take a duration of 2 days for this. On the fifth day, we will go and proceed with the state and data management of the Flutter applications. And on the seventh day, we'll be creating a demo application entirely in the entire 1 hour. And we'll be also cross-referencing the snippets, code snippets from the documentation offered by Flutter. On the seventh day, we will wrap up everything and we'll see how one should proceed from this point of time where you have an application in your hand. So the basic cut here is that you will be at the end of these 7 days, you'll be able to develop your own Flutter application, and that application will be able to run on multiple platforms. You can decide, you can customize your code based upon that. So for today's part, let's move on with the introduction, what we're going to do today. So first of all, I'll introduce you what Flutter is. Secondly, I'll let you know what Dart is. Thirdly, I'll let you know what are the basics of it. And fourthly, I will let you know how to set it up for your platform. All right. So let's proceed with this. So before we have to learn what Flutter is, we have to understand why Flutter. Why is Flutter making so much noise in the market right now that everyone is talking about it? You might have seen this month was very special for Flutter in many terms, because this month Flutter launched its second version, that is Flutter 2, and it was released in stable, and it has many and remarkable features which has just shaken the ground of mobile application, web application, and desktop applications. So as you can see, this is a famous picture from the recent Flutter 2 event which happened. And this just shows you the dependability of Flutter, the code compatibility of Flutter for multiple platforms. So now you can run your application on iOS devices, whether it's an iPad or iPad OS, even compatibility is on the way. If you want to develop your application for Android devices, if you want to develop applications for desktop devices, may it be Linux, may it be Mac, may it be Windows, you can create with that. And also Flutter is offering support for split screen mobile phones or split screen computers or split screen devices. You can see in the corner, it's a Samsung phone recently launched. So Flutter is also providing support for multi-screen applications. So that's really a remarkable thing which is happening in the world right now. And given that Flutter has pushed multiple things into stable release in the Flutter 2 upgrade. So yeah, not only Flutter is being used by people, developers, companies outside the Google. Even Google is also refurbishing its application and migrating them from the current infrastructure into Flutter. So here are some of the applications which Google has migrated entirely using its Flutter framework. So first one is Google One. Google One, it just provides you an extra storage space. It's an application which allows you to manage that. Google Pay is one of the India's biggest payment gateway application. So this entire metrics, this entire to and fro input output operation, they entirely work on Google Pay, and Google Pay entirely relies on Flutter for that. So Nest Hub is for Nest devices, and Google Stadia. Stadia is a gaming platform, and the application for that is entirely being run on Flutter. Similarly, Family Link, it's a parental control application. So this entirely also is working on Flutter. Google Ads application is working on Flutter. Google Shopping, Google Analytics, Google Cloud Search, and Google Ad Mob. All these applications are being trusted, and they are working in their perfect states, and they are all working under the hood with the help of Flutter. So you can see how much Google is promising itself, how much Google is relying on this technology, and how much Google is confident to let this go and move further. Yeah, so these are for a few of the highlights from the Flutter 2 upgrade, which happened recently. So there was this event called Flutter Engage, in which they announced Flutter 2. So null safety has been released for Dart. Null safety, we'll dive into it later on, but you can understand it in a way like whenever you are creating application and you're going to encounter a lot of errors. So one of the most hidden errors which generally developers don't identify are null errors. So in that case, Dart has a new null safety handling part, which has recently been released after the Flutter 2 upgrade. So null safety is a good way to, to do not get stuck on the parts where you're getting null data. Also, Flutter has also contributed into foldable phone support as well. So now multi-screen applications can also work with the help of Flutter. And iRobot is a company which was developing an application for a robotic cleaning system. So yeah, and Ubuntu, like whenever you create or whenever you download an application, you have this installation kind of console, installation kind of user interface. So Ubuntu is using uh, Flutter as its own installer service as of now, and installer software. So you see any software being installed, so Ubuntu is totally relying on Flutter to create this canonical default installer. And Google Pay, like I mentioned previously, is entirely built with Flutter. So you can see the productivity gains and how much Flutter is confident with this. Similarly, the two application, mobile ads and SDK. And similarly, Toyota create, I'm sorry, Toyota created this embedded system kind of computer, and that computer entirely is able to run Flutter applications. Flutter has also upgraded Firebase plugins. So this used to be a great pain while developing and creating application using Firebase. So Flutter has also upgraded Firebase plugins as well. So without further ado, let's dive in. By the way, this is Dashatar. This is Dash. It's like the basic mascot of Flutter. So yeah, you can create your own Dashatars by visiting the Dashatar website. It's a web application. You can create your own avatars and you can share them. Yeah. So before we proceed any further, I'm assuming that you people are new here, and even if some people are who are on the call right now, they have a little idea like what Flutter is, what Dart is. But taking a super set that I assume that you all are beginners, I'm going to treat you all as beginners as of now, and slowly, we'll be step by step, we'll be proceeding to a level of intermediacy. All right, let's proceed. So yeah, Flutter is literally exciting. I might have told a lot of benefits. I might have told a lot of adaptations happening in the market right now, like how Flutter is being adopted by multiple companies and how they are moving on with it. So I'm pretty sure you all are excited to dive into it. So yeah. So in short, this is a this slide looks like a project board kind of thing. I have mentioned multiple things here. Let me just select a pointer. So Flutter is an open source UI software. Open source UI software, you can go and visit the Flutter's repository or GitHub repository. It has more than 117,000 stars and 16.6 kind of folks. So you can imagine like how much sound it's making in the development world right now. And there are many a times I see that Flutter repository comes in the explore section a lot of time because it gets featured a lot. So a lot of input-output operations happen each and every day. Flutter issues are being created, they are being resolved, and those issues come out as new features for the new updates of Flutter. So the community is pretty active, and even if you have any issue, you can create an issue and it gets resolved in a period of 24 hours. So the support is really awesome. And Flutter obviously is created by Google, and it was created on the first time it was mentioned in a Dart conference in 2015. The Flutter was used to create an Android application, and the Android application had, or it was using like it was running so fast, and it has multiple compatibility. So yeah, that was the start of it in 2015. Now it is used to develop applications for Android, iOS, Linux, Mac, Windows, and Google Fuchsia. Also, web. So this entire thing happens with single code base. So Android, you might be aware, Android devices. We all have Android devices. iOS devices, we all have iPhones. We might have used it, might have seen it. We know how they look like. We know how they work. Also, Flutter allows you to develop application for or Linux computers, for Mac computers, for Windows computer, and Google Fuchsia. So Google Fuchsia is a microkernel-based operating system. You can just think like in the coming years, what Google is trying to do is Google is trying to create a much better version, like a much better operating system than Android. So Google Fuchsia is that operating system which Google is working on, and Flutter applications are also compatible with Google Fuchsia as well. In the recent update, the Flutter 2 upgrade, Flutter released the entire stable support for web as well. So this is the new thing in the stable world as of now. Yeah, so all of this is about Flutter, and the best part is it uses single code base. So you can develop application for 7 kind of devices, 7 type of platforms, and all you can do is with a single code base. And that code is written using a language called Dart. So it's really a fascinating thing, like how Flutter is doing all of this, and we will also dive deeper, like how is it happening? What are the architectural benefits? What are the architectural, uh, components which are making this happen? So here are just cute dog memes to, you know. So let's proceed further, and so yeah, like Doctor Strange is telling you everything, like what's happening. We have multiple platforms, and at the core of that platforms is a single code base. That single code base uses a language called Dart. Cool. So yeah, Dart is awesome. Dart is amazing. It's an amazing language. Google has been using Dart from like 2011, and it's under development till that day, till this point. So yeah, Dart is like constantly moving things here and there. Even Bloomberg, the big company, the news company, the media house, Bloomberg has been using Dart from like early 2015 as well in their own infrastructural basis and UI based components to be designed. So yeah, Dart is an awesome language. And if you are familiar with JavaScript, if you're familiar with basic C, if you're familiar with Java, then it might be familiar to you as well. Like it's not that hard of a language to learn. It has a very familiar syntax, and it's very easy to learn. Even like you can learn it in 1 to 2 hours, so it's not much of a big deal, and it's very user friendly. It's a statically typed language, so whatever you define, whatever thing you create, you have to give it a type. All right. So yeah, it's an object-oriented language. It contains classes, and you can create application obviously for multiple applications or multiple platforms. And it's a strongly typed language. It has a C-style kind of syntax and a mixture of JavaScript and Java as well at some places. So yeah, it compiles our code to native code and JavaScript. So what is native code here? So let's say if you're developing application for Android. So for application for Android, you need some code which has to run with Android, right? So only native code can be understood. Let's say binary files. So binary files are the files which are being understood by any computer in the world, whether it's a mobile phone, whether it's a computer, whether it's a tablet. Any device can understand binaries. Any device can understand executables. So what Dart does is Dart creates them and provides them with this native code, and they can use this and run this, right? And it can also compile the same code to JavaScript as well. So we also have web support due to the same reason. So Dart was also developed by Google in 2011, and Flutter was developed and rolled out to world in 2015. And it arrived in the first version arrived in 2017 or 18. I'm not sure. So yeah, so Dart is also making a lot of noise, and Dart is being used to develop multiple softwares, multiple platforms with a great support and with a great hold on the UI. So Dart works on the principle of UI as code. Like basically what happens in other platforms when we try to create and develop application, we have to write a UI part in these markup files, right? But in this case of Dart and Flutter, when they both combine together, they have this principle on which they work on, that is UI as code. So yeah, you have full control, and you have entire control on each and every pixel of the device you want your application to run. That's like the best part of Dart. Yeah, so let's come back to Flutter. What are the advantages of Flutter? Let's go and ponder upon them one by one. So yeah, you can allow the same user interface and the business logics to perform on all the platforms. So recently there was this list which was released by Play Store. So Play Store releases list of applications, the best application of 2021, best application of 2020. So I did a detailed study about that, and I found out that the best application which was selected and which were in top 10, they had the same user interface in both the cases, whether it was for Android, whether it was for iOS. They had the same user interfaces. So what's happening right now is the world is a little bit in the shift. Previously, what used to happen is that people used to like this Cupertino kind of styles, iOS kind of UI much more. But recently, people just need a constant support, a constant UI integration, a constant UI look. So Flutter has an advantage that you can provide the same user interface to all the platforms, whether you want to create an application for iOS, for Android, for web, for desktop. So you can use the same UI and it will work at all places with entire code, with entire logic, same to same. So you need not to worry about the logic at all. The same logic will work for all the platforms. The same UI will work for all the platforms. Let's come to second point, that is reduced code development time. Yeah, obviously, what happened is when there was this study in which Google rewrote its Google Pay application with Flutter. So Google Pay was able to reduce 34% of its code when it used Flutter with Dart. So you can see code gets reduced, and so is the time gets. We get ample amount of time to do different things. Code gets reduced, time also gets reduced. So yeah, so with Dart and Flutter, you have less code to write, and you have more time to do much more fundamental and important things related to the project of the application. Yeah, so increased time to market speed. Obviously, we have this ratio which we call time to market speed, which entirely means is you have development time and you have launch time. So this speed can be increased with the help of Flutter because obviously the code is getting reduced. Also, we have much lesser code to handle. We need not to handle iOS code. We need not to handle Android code separately. We can just write one single code and we can make it happen for both the platforms. So yeah. Also, like in the first point I mentioned the same UI. In the fourth point, I'm going to let you know that you can also create native UI for your application performance or look out like how the application looks. So I will give a brief intro about this in the coming slides as well. So let's come to fifth slide. You can create your custom animations, and these animations are super fast because Flutter has this engine which is super fast. Its own rendering engine. It allows you to create and move animation and move things at a speed of 60 frames per second. So these are exactly the frames on your high-end the gaming development environment in which we play, like CS:GO or any other game which you play. They all have the 60 FPS kind of rendering power. So yeah, so any complexity which is available, it's entirely handleable in case of animations, and you can create your custom animation as you want it. Like already mentioned, it has its own rendering engine, and it's a C++ based engine, so it's really fast. It's very fast. Also, for seventh point, if you want your code, let's say I am a user and I'm using an iOS phone, and there's another user who using an Android phone. So I want to show different things to both the people. I want to show different advertisement on iOS phone, different advertisement on Android phone. So I can obviously do this with Dart. I can write platform specific code that if it's iOS user, then show him the pictures of dogs. If it's an Android user, then show him the pictures of cats. So you have full freedom to write whatever you want on the basis of platform you're on currently. So that's a very good advantage and a very good customization. I would say a very good customizable component of Flutter that you are able to do that without affecting the entire flow, the entire logic of the application. So yeah, eighth point become that yeah, obviously Flutter has a potential ability to go beyond mobile now. After Flutter 2, you are able to create applications for iOS, Android, and web in the stable, most possible way. Even you can go further for desktop as well. So yeah, when you go and install the Flutter SDK, so first of all, let's understand what SDK is. So SDK is a tool which allows you to create other softwares or other applications. As simple as that. So that it has SDK has a tool has tools to compile your code to native machine code and allow you to develop with ease. So you can compile your written code into two platform specific codes. First one is iOS and second one is Android, and this entirely will be handled by the SDK. SDK will run that native code and provide them with the entire with the required components. Also, Flutter SDK also comes up with widget library. So widget library is nothing; it's a catalog of widgets. So what are widgets? We'll learn in the coming slides what widgets are. So they are, if I talk briefly, then widgets are just building blocks. They are just UI components which allows you to create things. So if I have a text, then it's a widget. I have an image of dog, then it's a widget. So everything in Flutter is a widget. We'll dive into it later on as well. So yeah, widget library contains widgets and all the utility functions and packages required. So when I look from a bird eye view, I see three things here. First is a Flutter framework, which already comes in built with Dart framework. So Dart is the programming language, and framework has all the set of features and all the utilities and all the UI elements to go with. And Flutter SDK gives us the tools, which allows us in conversion of our Dart code into native code for required devices or platforms. Okay, so this is what Flutter architecture looks like. So what happens is in Flutter, we have this thing called tree. It's called a widget tree. And widget tree just creates this hierarchy of widgets as you go from top to bottom or inside the widgets, you create a child. So widget, as I told, is a UI component and a UI component can have another UI component inside it. So that's how trees work. So on the top, there is one widget and on the lower side, there can be multiple widgets inside it as well. So it has a widget tree. As of now, you should just, it may not make a lot of sense as of now, but it will become clear as we proceed. So yeah, it also embraces the platform. It without destroying the logic. Your platform specific codes, your platform based components will still work fine, and we'll be using one code base for that. So yeah, this is like the how the Dart PM based composition happens. So you have on the topmost layer your Flutter API, which encompasses around utility and widgets, and the utility and widgets are sitting on top of your Dart code, and you get your widgets and your code from the Flutter SDK. And then Flutter SDK also has a native compilation or components which allows your Dart code to compile into platform-specific native codes. So in this case, the code is being compiled into native code for Android and native code for iOS phones. So this is how it works in the hood, under the hood. So yeah. Okay, so like we listened a lot about widgets. So yeah, in Flutter, everything is a widget. You see this startup name generator text, it's a widget. This app bar is a widget. This list is a widget. These list items are widget. So everything is a widget, and it basically uses material design here. If you want, you can customize it to use Apple's design as well. So Apple has a design which is called Cupertino. Cupertino is a town in California, on the basis of which it is kept. So yeah, stateless and stateful widgets. There are two kinds of widgets. Stateless are the kind of widget which do not change on the basis of particular condition you have. And stateful widgets are the widget which do change on a particular set of conditions. So stateless are something like static. Stateful are something we can say are dynamic. So material components. And you can also handle gestures like if you have a widget and if you're tapping on that, if you're double tapping on that, if you're panning and zooming on that. So you can handle that entirely with these widget component specific basis. So there are hundreds of widgets cataloged on the flutter.dev website. You can go check it out. And obviously, the widget allows you to create whatever you want to create, and you have full control on every pixel on any device you are building your application on. So yeah, like I said, so in this case, this is an application. It's kind of a inventory application. So you can see this app bar is a widget. This is a widget. This icon is a widget. This text is a widget. This drawer is a widget. These text boxes are widget. Input fields are widget. Images are, so actually everything is a widget. In fact, this whole page is a widget. So whenever I talk about any component in Flutter, I'm talking always about a widget, because in Flutter everything is a widget. So I hope this clears up a lot of things. Yeah. So this is a screenshot from the layout catalog from the Flutter's website. So this is just few of the many. So we have accessibility widgets, we have animation and motion widgets, we have assets, images, icons, async patterns, basics, basic widgets, Cupertino style widgets, iOS widgets, layout widgets like rows, columns, grids, interaction models based upon touch events, input widgets. So there are hundreds of them, and the library is just expanding on the basis of new features being introduced. Yeah. Okay. So you might have seen that since there are these kind of widgets which I told, like Cupertino and Material, these are called OEM widgets. So Material cannot be entirely termed as an OEM widget because that's a standard which is being followed from the Material community at Google. But still, let's for the consideration, let's consider two kind of interfaces we have. So you can see iOS has these kind of radio buttons, switch buttons. So these switch buttons and these switch buttons, they both are different on the way they look, right? Because this follows Cupertino, this follows Material in this case. So these are called OEM widgets, which are the manufacturing widgets, manufactured by the original owner, right? Yeah, so you can see the entire differences on the basis of UI. So in case of iOS, if you are coming from a Swift background, you might be knowing about that. We call them UI buttons, and if you're coming from Android, we call them widget button, right? But Flutter has introduced a single widget, which is raised button, and you can customize it for both the cases, and this will show up and function like a normal widget. So if you want like both of them to use a Cupertino style button, then you can type Cupertino raise button or Cupertino button. So this might not make a lot of sense of now, but you might be able to understand in the coming slides. So Flutter has just reduced this barrier, and now all you have to use is a single raise button, and you need not care about that. So the simple raise button will be able to work for both the cases. So it's not that of a prominent thing to mention here, but still you are able to realize what's happening under the hood. So yeah, here I have WhatsApp opened up. Not technically WhatsApp, but we have two messenger application opened up, and I can similarly clone the same WhatsApp. So this one is Android, this one is iPhone. So I have the functionality to do with Flutter that I can make them look entirely equal on the UI side, or I can allow the iOS UI on Android and vice versa. So this is entirely doable in case of Flutter, and you need not to worry about that. Okay, so yeah, I think we have a lot of time to ponder still yet. So let's go about the setup of the. So yeah, you can set up Flutter as of now on 4 platforms: Windows, Mac OS, Linux, and Chrome OS. So yeah, I am on Mac OS system right now, and I'll show you one by one for how the setup has to be done for all the platforms. Yeah, so setup basically includes. Let me just stop this and reshare in entire screen mode. Just a minute. I hope you guys are not getting bored, because I people do say a lot that I have a sound which makes people asleep. So I'm really sorry that I'm boring you up at this hour, but do let me know. Just a minute. Just a minute, guys. Just bear with me. I'm having some issues. Okay. Okay. So is my screen visible? Yeah, it should be visible as of now. Oh yeah. Cool. So I'm going to show you how to set up Flutter on an initial basis and how to proceed next. So let's go to flutter.dev. So this is going to be your entire Bhagavad Gita to proceed. This is going to be your entire Vedas, right? So this documentation part will contain everything you have to do from the initial phase to the ending phase. Even if you become a professional, you'll still be confronting and observing this documentation and seeing for the changes. So do not miss out on this. And it's a very good practice, to always to prefer documentation. Documentations are the best way possible you can get your queries resolved. Stack Overflow is obviously there. Stack Overflow is a great community, and if you want to get instant answers, then obviously that's the place to go. But if you have a documentation based knowledge, then you can obviously connect things in a flick of seconds. So it's a good practice, to read documentation. I personally, when I travel in train, or when I'm feeling a little bit asleep or I want to sleep, then I basically just take out any documentation, whether it's of Firebase, it's of Flutter. I just read it and I fall asleep. But yeah, I do fall asleep because obviously they seem boring, but they do have a side, it has a catch that you'll be able to learn something. So it's a really good practice that you should always prefer some documentation of the technology you're using. And trust me, you can complete the entire documentation in 2-3 days if you have a previous background of development. So yeah, it's a good thing to proceed with. So yeah, when you come to the Flutter documentation, you have this option to get started, and you have to select your platform which you are on right now. So currently I'm on Mac. So you should always check your system requirements. I have all the compatible system requirements. In most of the cases, you'll be having compatible system requirements because Flutter has taken care in mind that, yeah, people do not have high-end laptops, and these are just the basic requirements in which you can even run your GTA Vice City. So it's all right. If you can run GTA Vice City, you are obviously eligible to run Flutter as well. So yeah, first of all, you'll be told to download this zip file, and you have to download it, and then you have to unzip it. So this entire thing will be done in the command line, or you can say your own terminal. So I'm using Bash as of now. So you might be having ZSH, or you might be having Windows PowerShell. Yeah. So you just have to, unzip this file. I already have Flutter installed, so you can see Flutter. I have the latest version of Flutter installed. I was working on a previous, before the Flutter 2 version, but for the sake of this course, I had to switch it off. So anyways, this is how you should unzip them, and then you have to define a path. So some people might face issues with this if they have never done this before, but it's a very easy process. All you have to do is to go into your home directory, and this works in all the cases, whether you're on Mac, Linux, or Windows. So let me just clear this up and just go to home directory. This is my home directory, right? So yeah, so there's this file which you can locate by typing this command, which is ls-a. ls just lists the files, and -a also lists the hidden files. And hidden files mostly start with dot or a full stop or period. Okay. So you can see these are all the hidden files I have, right? So yeah. So based upon the terminal you're using, the console you have, I have Bash here. You can see bash bash written, right? If you have ZSH, if you have PowerShell, if you have anything else. So it totally depends upon you. But you have to create a file if it's not present, like bash profile. In my case, it's bash profile. If you're using PowerShell, ZSH, then you can create .zzrc. I'll show you. You can see here. So this entire thing has been already mentioned in Flutter documentation. It's very easy to set up. You just have to go in the flow. It's telling you, yeah. So what you have to do is to create an RC file. You have to type in shell. So this entire thing you can refer to. It's very easy to go with. Okay. So yeah, and if you want to develop applications for iOS devices, then you need an installation of Xcode, and this will only work in the case of Mac. Okay. So if you're on a Mac, if you're on a Mac device, then only you will be able to develop application as of now for or build application now for iOS. So that's a little, obviously a thing because if you want to develop iOS, if you need a Mac, obviously. So then you should install Xcode. And if you want to develop application for Android as well, then you have to install Android Studio. Android Studio comes inbuilt with Android SDK, so it contains all the files required. And when you're done installing both of these things and you are done, defining your path, then you have to initialize a code editor. So in my case, it's VS Code. I always use VS Code. I always prefer it because it has multiple extensions, and I love to use extensions. I have many extensions to go with. So I will also give you the link in the coming lecture, like tomorrow or something. I'll let you know that what extensions you have to install to make your code look better and to get better insight on your code. Yeah. So this was the setup for Mac. And obviously, when you're going to debug your device, then you have to switch on your debugging on. So USB debugging is something we do. We connect our laptops with our USB cables, and then we go to, in case of Android, we go to developer options. So developer options are not enabled. So you have to enable them by going into your phone settings and clicking on build number multiple times. So this thing, as of now, you need not to listen or take care as of now because this we'll be doing tomorrow. And you can, if you are done, then it's really nice, and you should really go with this. Yeah, slowly this will happen. You need not to worry. I might be speaking a little bit fast. I'm not sure. I haven't checked your chats as well. Okay. Can you can you explain in Windows, because I think many people are working with Windows right now. All right. I do have a Window PC here, but it already has Flutter installed. So yeah, let me just go over there and ponder upon. So in case of Windows, it's very easy. You have to download this zip file. You have to extract this in any folder you want. Let's say my name is Yash. So I go to C drive and I create a folder, Yash Car Development folder. So that's like my development folder. I create a Yash Car Development folder and I unzip that file in that folder, right? Then I copy the location. I copy the location where I will extract this. So Flutter, when you extract Flutter, Flutter will also have a directory called bin. So bin is nothing, it contains binaries. So binaries, there will be two files in there that will be flutter.bat and dart.bat. So these two files are the Unix executable files, which are always, which your system has to listen every time whenever you type any command in the terminal. So these files has to be triggered no matter what. So yeah, these things are not that hard. They just sound like very fancy. Their words are very fancy, but these things are very easy. Trust me. It's like those things when people say कि 12th का board काफी मुश्किल होगा, but technically it turns out to be okay. ऐसे लोग 10th में बोलते थे कि ये 10th board मुश्किल होंगे, but it turns out to be okay. Similarly, the fancy words होते हैं. You need not to worry much about this, and you have to just focus on the things which have to be done, and they're really easy. You need not to worry about that. Cool. So yeah, you have to extract this, and you have to extract this in a folder called Yashka folder or any folder you want to create. And then you have to go to control panel. You have to give your environment variable a path, and that path will be of the Flutter bin directory. We need to download software. Yes, you need to download software. This will be a zip file. You have to go to this website. Just a minute. You have to go over to this link and you have to do what the what the documentation says. So सबसे पहले क्या करना होता है, आपको जो zip फाइल है उसे डाउनलोड करना पड़ेगा, राइट? तो उस डाउनलोड करने के बाद आपको उसको एक्सट्रैक्ट करना है किसी एक फ़ोल्डर के अंदर। अब जैसे ही आप एक्सट्रैक्ट करोगे, आपको फ्लटर फ़ोल्डर के अंदर एक और फ़ोल्डर दिखेगा जिसका नाम होगा बिन, BIN, फ्लटर डॉक्टर समरी, फ्लटर चैनल, माइक्रोसॉफ्ट इंस्टॉल्ड। हाँ, तो आपके केस में जो इश्यू आ रहा है ना, एंड्रॉइड लाइसेंसेस का इश्यू है। तो आपको क्या करना है, ये जो फ्लटर डॉक्टर एंड्रॉइड लाइसेंसेस वाला जो मैं आपको सेंड कर रहा हूँ, आपको इस कमांड को रन करना है और उसके बाद आपको बार-बार प्रॉम्प्ट किया जाएगा कि आप क्या चाहते हो, येस चाहते हो, नो चाहते हो, ठीक है? तो मैं ये सेंड कर रहा हूँ एंड आई एम एडिंग एन इमोजी ताकि आप ढूँढ लो कि मेरा मैसेज कहाँ पर है। ओके, मैंने एक इमोजी डाला है हार्ट शेप का एंड यू हैव टू कॉपी दिस कमांड विदाउट द इमोजी and you have to run it up. And जब वो run होगा, then you will be shown multiple questions like if you want to proceed yes or no. And you have to always click yes because these are some Android licenses which Android is taking care. Because for the first time you're going to run your application, and for that Android SDK needs some permissions. And these permissions are about the use cases, about the licenses which Android SDK allows. Okay, so I hope so I have messaged my doubts in learning from the section. Oh, take a look, just a minute. Actually, there's too many messages and I have to scroll up and down. Sujit, Android Studio would be better for Android. You can use anything. Android Studio obviously is important because it gives you the Android SDK. But Android Studio also has its own ID. It's an IntelliJ IDEA-based ID, so you can use that. I'm sorry if I missed any of the people's questions because I'm not able to understand whom to answer. Yeah, Rajiv Rajan. Is there a counterpart of code labs for Flutter as in Kotlin? Yes, yes, yes. We have code labs. We have cookbooks as well. So I will share the entire link. And if you go into documentation, you'll be able to see what's happening. And there are multiple tutorials available. And even the documentation has tutorials inside in itself. So you need not to go for particular code lab or particular cookbook. The documentation already has it. Let me see more questions. We will share recording post session. Yeah, absolutely. You can get this PPT. Flutter UI works a collection of widgets working. Yeah, absolutely. So Flutter works like it has a orchestration with all the widgets. Rajiv, I'm answering your question here. You asked me that Flutter UI works as collection of widgets working with one another. Absolutely. This is what happens. So you have this widget tree developed entirely. So whenever you're creating something, let's say you have a container, you have an image. Okay, image is a widget. So on that image, you want to display a text. Okay, so image is a widget, text is a widget, and to display it on the top of that, you need another widget that's called stack. So what stack will do, it will display that text over that image. So absolutely, it works in collaboration, and a great orchestration is required, and you need to understand like how to do, and it's very easy. Even a pre-primary kid can do it. So yeah. Uh, Okay, real-time example of stateless and stateful widgets. Okay, that's a very good question. The thing is, I'll have to fire up an application, but I can give you an example here itself. So just let me show you something. Okay, I hope you all are able to see my screens. Yeah, I think this was here. Okay, so here is a GIF. Okay. Okay, so you can see this is a Flutter application. It's the first application which gets fired up when you install Flutter and get started with it. So you can see this Flutter demo homepage text. This is a widget. This app bar is a widget. This entire white space is a widget, and in that we have two more widgets. First one is this text, which is you have pushed the button this many times, and second is this text, which is 2, 3, 4, which is getting updated as we are pressing on this button. This button is called floating action button. So the times which you press on this button, this thing is getting updated. So this widget, which is getting updated, it's a stateful widget. And this text, which is just staying static, it's a stateless widget. So I think now it's pretty clear, like what I mean when I say stateful and stateless. Who raised this query? I'm confused as what wrong with this. I did, but my Flutter is running VS Terminal, but not in Windows CMD. Okay, did you define the path like perfectly? And from where did you define the path? Can you let me know, Falak? Okay. You know what? Many people are facing issues with Windows. So uh, I will consider the chat with the moderator here with Varsha that if I can show these changes tomorrow and let the people know the entire setup for this. Yes, absolutely, Shubham. The things which change their states come in stateful. Absolutely, you're right. Shubham Chambari, you're absolutely correct. And I will give you the real-time example tomorrow because I'll have to fire up the entire application. And for the first time, it takes time to build the application. And I hope we are reaching to an end. Yeah, absolutely. Like in React. In React also we have states, right? So yeah, we have state management in every framework we work with. So yeah, this was about the setup and people have issues with Windows. So I will just take a quick 10-minute initial 10 minute of tomorrow's lecture so that we can move on with the setup thing, right? I hope that will be good, I presume. That's cool. That's cool, Abhijit. Okay, so let's move on with the presentation. No, it depends what kind of calendar you're talking about, right? You are telling me for my perception, calendar is something which is stateful because I see everyday events coming up, right? And music is also stateful because I use Spotify and Apple Music, so I am pretty sure that both of them in this case will be stateful. But you're talking about a static calendar, like say if I have published something, let's say on an application basis, yeah, it can be considered static. But when I see from my perspective, it's not static at all. Yeah, absolutely. Static for a day. Absolutely. Yeah. Static for that day, particularly. If you add events, let's say if let me open my calendar, okay. Uh, so you see, for me, I'm talking calendar as an application. Okay, sorry. Yeah, you're correct about the part with static for a day. Which project we will get at the end, just give an example of application. So yeah, we will be developing application from today, from tomorrow onwards, and all the 6 days we'll be having application always side, like an application window will be always side by side to this window. So we'll be developing application every day, and those application will be on the use case basis, and it entirely depends upon what topic we are covering. But on the 6th and 7th day, we'll be developing a custom application, let's say a TV series application, a movie application, or a portfolio application, or a tracker application, a startup name generator kind of application. So the list is seamless. We just have to see and think like what we can do in a 1 hour time. That's important. So that 1 hour barrier is very, very, we have something we have to worry about because 1 hour is efficient and enough to go with this. But still, we have to think of those application ideas which we can implement in 1 hour. So I will research and I will let you know. But I'm pretty sure that by the end of 7 days, you'll be able to make an application. You'll be able to create an application. Sorry, you'll be able to make an application, create an application. You'll be able to make your own customization. And I presume you all will be experimenting with it as well for desktop, for web, for phone, for iOS, for tablets. Okay, I have Android Studio set up in my PC, so can I continue with that? Okay, so if you have set up Android Studio and you also have installed the Flutter SDK, then you need to install two extra plugins for that. Actually, one plugin, that is Flutter's plugin. So it will also plug in the Dart plugin as well. Okay, Shubham is asking, give intro about yourself. So Shubham, my name is Yash. Yeah, I can share your LinkedIn. I'm looking forward to join more session of yours. Okay, thank you so much, Rajiv. I am really glad that you enjoyed this. I'm not pretty active on LinkedIn because I don't like that platform at all. So you won't see much happening there. But yeah, I will do share everything in the coming days. Okay. Yeah. So my name is Yash, and I have been a mobile app developer for the past 3 years, and I have also worked with system programming as well. I have worked with multiple microservices infrastructure, multiple softwares which follow a particular kind of design pattern which is unconventional as of now. So I have worked with those kind of companies and projects, and yeah, and I have like multiple experiences with multiple like the list is great. Like you know what, I used to do illegal things when I started up doing development. I used to create things which used to break system. It's not like मैं खुद को ऐसा बता रहा हूँ कि I was this kind of a kid, but I was just okay. मतलब, it's not something I have, achieved in my life, but it's fine. I'm learning every day, and I love to study history a lot. Yeah, that's all about me. So if anyone of you can share something like about yourself and give feedback, like can switch on the camera. No, don't switch on the camera. I believe you all are camera conscious like me. So you can just switch on your audio and let me know like how you guys are feeling and what was your experience like. Anyone, anyone. Thank you for sharing my username. Yes, yes, I have worked with cybersecurity. In fact, I was one of the early adapters when Kali Linux came out. So yeah, I used to watch this show called Mr. Robot. So that's like my best show. I have already installed Android Studio and I'm able to run simple Flutter program, but I got an error that I have already mentioned in this chat. Please provide me the solution if possible. Varun, actually, this is an array of a lot of messages, and I'm not able to recognize how should I search your question or error. Can you just resend it? Learning part starts with making cool thing like okay, yeah, Varun, you what you have to do is you have to could not find a load main class that is app data local Android SDK CMD line. Okay. Uh, yeah, Varun, that will be really nice that if you drop the entire error message to me on the Discord chat and tag me. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, GDG Jalandhar tag. Thank you so much. So Varun, I think that will be nice. I will look into it and I'll let you know there and therefore. It's an Android licenses issue and it can be resolved by typing this command into terminal and just agreeing upon all the questions being asked. These are yes or no questions. You just have to tap yes every time. Okay. Okay, cool. So guys, like I would say, like if you have an, you know, Flutter is making good rounds, and trust me, March was like Jannat to me because there were remarkable changes happened. Like especially in the case of web, So web के case में जो अभी हुआ, like the stability which the Flutter has gained, it's really awesome, and I'm really looking forward to it because one single application will be able to run on particular, previously what used to happen in the case of beta stage of the web support, there was very much lagging, and it was very slow. Even for a single application, single page application, the application used to run slow, but with the new update, it is seamless. It is perfect. Rajiv Ranjan is saying, okay, it's for GDG Jalandhar. Okay. Yeah, absolutely, Shubham. We can get our application in Google Chrome as well. It will be running everywhere, and you can even convert your applications into PWAs. These are progressive web apps. Why is Windows? Why isn't Flutter running in Windows CMD but in VS Code? Okay, sob emoji. Rajiv, I think Falak, you should share me the issue. I think you have not sourced your Bash profile or your path into your, yeah, you. I think you haven't sourced it. Or you can just approach me, Falak, into the Discord server and let me know what's happening with just a screenshot. Uh, Kind of like Chrome web app. Actually, it totally depends. Like if you want to create something 3D with Flutter web, then it's not that stable as of now because obviously it uses much more, system threads, and it's much task effective, much task efficient, but it's not that efficient for the browser as well to run it. And even Flutter don't have the initial support for 3D as well. So when I talk about 2D websites, it's perfectly, you'll be able to run them seamlessly. You can then for you the sky is the limit. Then you can do anything for 2D thing or 2D processing. But if you want to create something like 3JS, or if you want to implement something like that, so I'm not sure. I've never tried, but I will give it a try and actually will approach this question to you again, Rajiv, in the Discord server, and I will let you know. Okay, so for the best application which I have created, it's not live because it's not a commercial application. It was built for a company, and it's kind of a proprietary. But that application was a very big application, and it contained like a lot of modules to be integrated. It was for the embedded system service, which I created. So it is being used in that company as of now, but I'm not allowed to disclose any points about that. But still, it's working fine. So what I do is I take projects, I work on those projects, and that's what I do. And they are on a monthly basis, on a project monthly basis, or that's how it works. I have also interned in multiple companies, so yeah. But I do believe myself to be a person who works from home most of the time. Yeah. Okay, okay, Falak. Okay, that's great. So in case of Flutter, you can literally you can just go with anything. Thank you so much, Rajiv, and uh, I hope I'll see you all in the coming days as well. After installing Android Studio, do we need to config? Do you need to config it specially for Flutter? Yeah, after Android Studio, you have to install one plugin called Flutter plugin. You have to uh, go into File on Android Studio, and you have to go into Preferences and download a plugin. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You guys have been really awesome, and I really appreciate that you people are available at on Sunday and absolutely at this time. I'm really, really thankful to you all. And I do believe that I'll be able to see you again tomorrow and for the next 6 days. So yeah, thank you so much for joining up. And I'm